Congratulations, Nitya. That was really a lovely film, and yeah, very grateful that you made it.
Thank you. Thanks, Veena.
Can I start by asking you? I mean,
Yes.
I think what inspired you to do this? Because I mean, we work on this, but I think it's not a appetizing subject exactly. So
Yeah, it's not an appetizing subject, but I think I think that most of the conversations that I've had with Bangaloreans about Bangalore has been, especially in the last 10, 15 years, has been so full of dread, so full of, oh my God, what is the city coming to? And there's a sort of I could feel the lack of ownership from my end as well. And that was the intention with making this film, to feel like, okay, we are also a part of the problem and can be a part of the solution. Sewage specifically because, and this I'm thankful to the Science Gallery team. It was just a conversation we were having, and they were saying, what's the story? What happens to water after it leaves our toilets? So that's where it started from.
very nice, and I like the range of topics you covered in the movie because you talked about sort of the institutional fragmentation, you talked about the technology side, you talked about the part that a lot of people don't, especially the tech people, don't like to talk about, the manual scavenging and the sanitation workers and their what they are exposed to and the conditions they live in. So you covered that. One thing that you probably didn't cover was the economics a little bit, because at the end, she says the problems are bigger. And I saw one comment where he says, well, everybody should do their bit. And we never say what that bit is that everybody should do. But I think the very first piece of it is being willing to pay for these services, because it's not like we don't know how to treat wastewater treatment. I mean, cities have done it for, at least 2 centuries. But I think films like yours are really crucial in kind of raising that awareness, saying if we all don't do our bit and specifically don't pay for those things, then eventually nobody's going to build sewers. We can't afford to, put the STPs, maintain them, pay the engineers a living wage, so on and so forth. So really wonderful that you kind of did that. You're doing this public awareness on a very unpleasant subject, or something that we'd like to, forget once we flushed.
Yeah, I think with sewage and with waste in general, it's something that you just don't want to look at. It's something that you want to look away from. And I think in the process of making this film for myself too, it was this process of looking at this part of what happens once it leaves your house. Yeah.
Was there something that really surprised you when, that you didn't know about at all as a layperson?
So much. There was so much I learned. One being that Bangalore is at the same altitude as Dehradun. That blew my mind. Didn't think of it that way. But I think I was also surprised to learn how. I think, like, as a layperson, it's kind of a general thing to be like, oh, the government, the government. But I think it was interesting to learn and see how much work actually goes into getting things the way they are right now, to getting things functional in such a rapidly expanding city. So it was a great learning, yes.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that Shashank pointed out that Bangalore is still ahead of the rest of the country. We think we are bad, and every time we pass those smelly drains, you're like, oh God, why does it have to suck so much? And then you realize, this is still way ahead of where the rest of India is. So yeah. And I also liked, a lot of I like the fact that you showed a lot of maps. I don't know, I mean, firstly, thank you for featuring our work at Well Labs in your film. We're always grateful, because you do all of the technical work and then nobody ever. I mean, we say that we only talk to the issue public and not the general public, but it's really crucial that people like you then take that work and then make it available and accessible to a larger audience. So I'm really grateful for that.
Thanks for all the resources. I think Well Labs was a great resource to learn about water in the city. I think, and there's so much work happening in the city, a lot of exciting work with organizations like Mod Foundation, who are working on making the city more observable. So when we can see what the city is and when we can observe the city, we can access more information or feel like a part of it a little more. Yeah, but
I wanted to call out actually one more great organization in your that works with the sanitation workers. The I think Biome does really exciting work. I met someone
Yes.
earlier who talked about Avinash and the work they're
Yes,
doing with the
with the
Safai Karmachari Union.
Yes.
I think that's really important because one of the things, it was a really interesting discussion we had between Biome and Well Labs a while ago about they work with the sanitation workers and we work with more of the technology side of the wastewater. And what we realized is that there's a problem if you try to have them both sit too close to each other because in a sense then it becomes that only this group of people can do sanitation work. Well, actually, you simultaneously need to rehabilitate all of those people to do other types of work, which is what Avinash and his team do at Biome. And then simultaneously, you need to kind of more mechanize and improve upgrade the technology so we don't have people going into sewers and dying. People still
Yes.
die on a regular basis at all of our high-end apartment complexes in Bangalore, which we don't talk about. And so it's really important to actually de-link in some way because otherwise you get into these odd kind of conundrums where you say, well, the sanitation work, this particular group of people need to have better conditions, which they do, but not necessarily only in this one profession. You want them to educate and gentrify in some way, and then you want the profession itself to independently become more mechanized, fewer, more safe in general. So I really like that you brought that aspect into the film. Yeah.
I think that with regards to cleaning waste, and like there is an angle of, I think for most of us, we don't see it as our duty, or there's a notion of like purity and not wanting to look at it as our job. It's not someone else is going to clean this up. And I think that's something that we need to sort of de-link.
Yeah, it's everybody's problem.
Yeah.
I think one nice thing that came out was also the solid waste angle because I don't know if we do enough education, and I'm wondering maybe the conversation to have with Janvi as well afterwards to see whether campaigns can be run around, simple things like don't flush sanitary pads and diapers down the drain because they're going to cause a plumbing problem and it's just increases everybody's expense. And it makes conditions so much worse for these people. But whether some messaging around that, because it comes out in your film very nicely. I don't know if people all catch on to some of these subtle messaging that's there throughout the film.
Yeah, there's so much to say about sewage, and it's hard to do in 20 minutes. But
And it's surprising for most people that you can talk about sewage, even for 20 minutes. But actually, you could talk about
Maybe
it for
2
hours.
hours.
Yeah. Wonderful. I don't know if we should open it up so people can ask you questions.
Yeah, sure. Veena, I have a question for
yeah.
you. I mean, with the work that you do at Well Labs, I know you've talked about being transdisciplinary instead of interdisciplinary. And I mean, personally, for me as a filmmaker, it was also like exploring a lot of mediums, so trying to work with different things. So if you could talk a little bit about transdisciplinary.
I don't even know if people know what interdisciplinary necessarily is before we say transdisciplinary, but when we, firstly, this concept of disciplines is invented by humans, right? The world just exists as it is. We, for convenience sake, need to study science or engineering or medicine or literature, but the world exists as one complete whole. So the idea of interdisciplinarity is when you start, mixing, taking ideas from one and the other and blending them to arrive at insights. But it's the concept of interdisciplinary, whether research or study, is still very much within the academic realm. It's what you do in a university, in a research institution. It doesn't actually overlap with society. But so as a result of that, a lot of the work that we do in all of our universities tend to be very siloed. And what your film clearly brings out is that all of these pieces need to be stitched together. Now, when we move from interdisciplinary to transdisciplinary, you're actually breaking the barrier between science and public, which is exactly what the mandate of Science Gallery is. Which is now you're trying to say that I'm not just working within a research institution, I'm working actively with communities, actively with government agencies and so on. So a lot of the work, therefore, that we do is we do research, but it's a continuous conversation between the users of research and the generators of research. And so we call ourselves a research and innovation organization. So both of those, but it's very closely done with all the other societal actors. So we work closely with BWSSB. We work with a lot of wastewater treatment operators. Bangalore, for those of you who don't know, has a decentralized wastewater treatment law. So even the film didn't have the chance to get into the depths of it, but 25% of our sewage is actually treated at apartment scale sewage treatment plants. It's the only city in the world which actually has that law. Even San Francisco has started, but it's maybe a decade behind Bangalore in terms of the law mandating decentralization. And so we have a lot of innovation happening because of that. And so at Well Labs, we kind of try to do the research, but embedded in the real world. So we work with the wastewater treatment innovators, we work with agencies, we work with the RWA and the Bangalore Apartments Federation. Again, they didn't get featured today in today's video, but Bangalore Apartment Federation has been revolutionary. I haven't seen any other lobbying organization anywhere in India, at least, that does such a good job of really coordinating between the RWAs and the government agencies. And they do an excellent job, because otherwise, how could BWSSB understand the problem that every individual apartment complex has? So anyway, the idea of transdisciplinary is about doing research but embedded with all these societal institutions. All right, I think we should open it up for a couple of questions. I need somebody to tell me when we're out of time, or tell you that we're out of time, but I'm presuming, yeah.
Question one is obviously, you left it like the cliffhanger in Inception. Did she find the watch or no? Shadi hui ya nahi? Bacche hue ya nahi? What is happening with that?
No.
I think the hint was then she said, I've got bigger problems. So we have to assume.
Got it. The second bit is about the filmmaking itself. Phenomenal use of formats and multiple creative ways of bringing in so many different elements. How difficult was it to actually get permission to shoot through these otherwise, classified confidential facilities, interacting with the government? How long was the production process?
So the production process was 3 months. Yes, it was challenging to get permissions to shoot. I think also because there's so much bad press involved. Like, of course, people are cautious about how we're presenting them. So it was a lot of struggle, a lot of days spent in government offices by my team. But once we did interact with them, they were really open and really welcoming, and you see that everyone really is working so hard to make change. So that was really good to see.
It was absolutely great watching the film. Thank you so much for putting in the effort, you and your team. So I actually was thinking about this whole idea. Whenever we talk about climate change as well, there is this notion of it is so big a problem and it spans across a lot of time in that sense. Like, it is so difficult to visualize the problem itself in a way. And as a filmmaker, I'm sure you had to grapple with that idea of waste management is a big problem. How do I now visualize the different systems that are involved in this process? So how did you conceptualize the idea of showing the different systems is what I wanted to ask.
Okay, thanks for that question. I think because it's so challenging, I did rely on different formats like animation, and we had a section with what's called shadow puppet animation to just show the efforts that are going on in the city. I think what I decided to do with the film is just let it be led by the people who form these systems, because it's difficult to sort of see them as just a logo or an institution. And that's why there were so many interviews in the film. It was just going to be people-led. Yes.
It's in the form of suggestion, not as a question. Should have focused more on caste and class factors in supplying water as well as STP drainage cleaning. And it should have been focused more on job security, wage security, and salary security of these A+, L+ workers who are treated just like slaves there. There is no basic constitutional guarantees, no legal guarantees. They are not being treated as citizens of this country or workers of this country, or at least human being. That's how the system works, and the BWSSB officials are so worst, they have no human concern. This should have been focused. This is only my suggestion. Thank you.
That's the next film, huh? I really
Yes.
think it's a good point.
I think that it
Needs a full treatment.
Yes, it was difficult to include everything in 20 minutes, and thank you for being a part of it. But yes, it needs its own thing.
Congratulations, Nitya and team. Congrats, Nitya and team. My question is more on the filmmaking side, particularly on the tone and mood of the film. Something like this, at least I felt it was positive, it was hopeful. There was a little bit of slight humor that came in the way you set everything up. It could have just gone into something more morbid or something more deep and heavy on the documentary side. How conscious and when did you think that this could be approached like this, and did your approach change as you started having these conversations? Because even a lot of the conversations, as deep as they were also nice. I mean, it felt something that you could relate to.
I think that as a filmmaker, I think my tendency is to veer towards something that's lighter in tone. But again, I have these were conversations I did have with the Science Gallery team, where you're talking about a topic that has a lot of problems. There are a lot of issues. So it felt, can you impose this joyful tone to an issue, to such a big issue? But I did consciously want to keep it light because it's such a heavy topic, and because so much of the sentiment around Bangalore is filled with dread, like, oh, we're reaching day zero, what is going to happen to our city? But there is a lot happening. People are doing a lot. There is a lot of innovation. And I think if you can look at that part of it, it's maybe more helpful and more constructive to be positive about it. Yes.
So thanks a lot. And it was really refreshing to see a very light and a positive note around the subject itself as well as the movie. My question was that you had, for instance, at one point say that the city is always catching up, right? And that's a question to both of you. Having worked in the space, that's the constant feeling that's the reality that we are dealing with today. So I was just wondering whether in the course of making this movie, or in your work itself as you're working around water and sanitation, or even the whole urban development scenario, are there any answers to say that how do we actually move from reacting to at least being responsive, if not proactive? So that was a question that I had, because that's something that we are constantly struggling with, not just in Bangalore, but most of the other cities too. So I was wondering whether you got any answers to that.
Veena?
I think there are solutions, and I think and I think that's why I said Bangalore innovated a little bit in terms of saying that, look, if the city is going to grow at this rate, and it's all happening through massive apartment complexes, relatively either villa developments or so on, these are not poor people for most part. These are people who can very well afford to have sewage treatment plants. If you're a really poor individual house, you'll probably still have a septic tank and a honeysuckle. But there's no reason why any large apartment complex should be letting its sewage into the drain. The cost of each of these complexes can more than cover the cost of a sewage treatment plant, which is why the decentralized wastewater treatment law came into place. The problem is the ecosystem around it took a lot of time to develop. So I think only now we are beginning to see sort of all of the pieces that needed to happen, which is the entrepreneurs who could actually service those things and build a modular modular wastewater treatment plants, which are easy to maintain, an entire cadre of people who've been trained who can actually then go and service those treatment plants. So there's a whole bunch of things. I do think we've got a solution that no other city in the world has. I think that we hadn't created the ecosystem around it. We kind of jumped ahead, as we often do, with let's go this direction. But ultimately, it will have to come down to people willing to pay for what that costs. Because over and over again, even with RWAs, we're talking about wealthy apartment owners, but they'll still be complaining about that 500,000 rupee per month bill. And if you're not willing to pay 1,000 rupees, if every one of us pays 1,000 rupees, we won't have a problem. That's enough to keep the entire maintenance, and the city problem is solved. The problem is we fight for those small amounts of money. We're willing to go and pay for a movie, one Uber ride is probably that much, but we're not willing to pay for sewage. So I think the problem is technically solvable. There were some missing pieces that are falling into place, but as every one of us, we should be running campaigns saying, let's pay for sewage. So. Behavior change, particularly on the solid waste side, is important. I think that, and I hope the kind of movie you've made and some of the work that maybe we can take this around with people and run campaigns around the solid waste side, but absolutely.
Hi Nitya, Shali here. Congratulations on the movie. A quick question, and I would probably call it I'm here. I would probably call it an ordinary man question. After the movie, what is your plan? Like, how do you want to take it ahead so that it creates more awareness? Because we are probably just 200 people here. Half of us are already well aware of waste management, sewage, etc. So what I would like to see is how this movie goes to local man, people who are outside, who may not have access to Bangalore International Center, or maybe the language as well, right? Because it's a different language, they may not understand, things like that. So what's the plan ahead for this movie?
Well, I hope that we can do more screenings. First of all, because of the language thing, I think that it is the language it is. And it's meant for, I would say, just the target audience might be someone who speaks English, because the sense of ownership, like feeling that sense of ownership to the city, is speaking to that population. That was the intention with the film. But yes, I hope to have more screenings and to maybe collaborate, like Veena said, have more campaigns around what is actionable going forward. Like if you feel something while watching this film, like, okay, I need to do something, maybe offering answers about what that thing can be. Hopefully that's what we're going to do with the film.
So the movie could be shown in a number of organizations as well. We have so many IT organizations within Bangalore. And of course, like a short movie like this, if that's presented, there are too many people to watch it. And then, they take it back to their home, create more awareness. So is there a plan to take the movie towards that angle as well?
Yes, I think we will discuss that. Yes.
Perfect.
I
Thank
think
you.
there's stuff we can do. I'll chat with you as well.
Yeah, thank you both. This is Karthik here. I just wanted to ask you, have you ever thought about a framework of solution that can go at the operational level to not just reaching out to people, but at the individual level? Is there any program or a framework that you've thought about in terms of the solution?
Personally, I haven't.
I think it's the same thing that
Yeah,
several
I'm
people
phrasing
have
out
now
the question
suggested
in a
about a
different way.
campaign.
Yeah.
About, I think the individual, what can individuals do comes down to a few specific things, right? We've seen in the movie, she showed about the solid waste side. At the very least, don't throw your sanitary pads and anything. There's only certain things. Don't flush stuff down, basically. Pay for water, get engaged in your RWA to understand what your local treatment plant is. Like I said, that's 25%. I think we could run some campaigns around this, and I'll speak to Janvi about how the film could be showcased around maybe a social media campaign or so on. I'm speaking about stuff without having consulted with everybody else. There's just some general ideas. But look forward to hearing from people offline at lunch, maybe to see whether people have ideas, and then we can take them forward. Yeah? Okay.
Thank you, Nitya, for making this video. We read a lot about it, but once it is in the visual form, it catches us even more. But my question here is particularly to Veena ma'am. Ma'am, when you spoke about the conversation that Well Labs had with the sanitation workers and the need to realize that we should not be just talking about their rights, but also move towards, take it a step forward and move towards talking about mechanization and all. What are the challenges that you're facing in operationalizing that? Like, do you face challenges from the government or the investment part?
Right. The conversation was with Biome Environmental Solutions. That's Avinash Krishnamurthy. His team really is doing the work with the Safai Karmachari Union. There's several things. One is there is a set of government regulations called about manual scavengers and how they are entitled to certain rehabilitation packages. One of the things they do is just ensuring that they have access to those rehabilitation packages. Then there's a whole bunch of job training that needs to be done for people who want to move out of manual scavenging. Because we have to be honest here, these have been caste-based professions and some of these people have been locked in saying that's the only choice you have, nobody else will hire you. So a lot of them, if they want to exit, can you give them a pathway to exit? There are others who say we want to stay, but we want to make it become entrepreneurs, sanitation entrepreneurs. We don't want to be contract workers that he was saying. So what can be done for them? How can they be given the machines, the financing, the small loans and so on, so that they can be empowered to actually set up those small businesses, right? So whether it's running a honeysucker, whether it's actually being given the roto-rooter type of, sending your video camera down instead of you going down, whether you can be given a sensor so that you know that the methane level is too high, it's not going to explode and kill you. So all of those sets of things. So I think those two conversations need to happen parallelly. On one hand, you need to mechanize and upgrade, increase, but work with government so that it's being enforced. One of the really shocking things that you'll see is a lot of the apartment complexes, which are so fancy, to get to the underground chambers. You have to like crawl through some spaces which is not even, you can't even stand there. And if you go in there and you find that conditions are unsafe, which means carbon monoxide levels are too high, you can't just like crawl out quickly. So there is a bunch of enforcement of regulation that needs to be done saying don't create unsafe conditions, which they are also, with the one thing we are trying to work with them is to say, can we codify these as standards? Saying how big should the entrances be, what kind of sensors should be in place, so on, that sort of thing. So these two conversations, rehabilitation on one side, safety and mechanization on the other, need to go together.
Hi Nitya. My question to you is, last year Bangalore had one of the worst water crises. I think there was a lot of water shortage. And in your movie, you just mentioned somewhere that, one of the officers said that we can actually recycle wastewater, the drainage water and all of that. So how can we do it effectively in our apartments, in our homes? How can we conserve water and recycle and reuse water?
I think there are a large set of measures that apartments, individuals, and systemically we need to enforce to increase like groundwater recharge and the recharge of shallow aquifers. And I mean, there are a lot of things that can be done.
Let me tell you, let me list out a few. Yeah. I think at the household level, which most people, what you can do within your flat is basic stuff, right? I think which most people who are conscious are already doing that, which is, if you've got washed water, put it in your plant sort of thing. The harder things to do are the systemic levels, right? So what you do at the building level, the first thing I think is to get educated and work with Bangalore Apartments Federation, for example, to run campaigns in your own RWA. Because one of the points of resistance against recycling at the building level, even though there is a law to say dual plumbing, a lot of people have what we call the yuck factor, and they just don't want to have treated wastewater in their flushes. So there's a technological set of components saying make sure that water is safe. But there is a campaign component to it saying educate yourself, educate your RWAs on the dual plumbing and use of that. And then, of course, there's stuff that needs to happen at the city level, which is maybe outside the realm of what an individual can do. But I think the first two of what you do in your own flat and then how you work within your RWA and get educated, that's using materials and stuff that a BAF might provide might be 2 steps you can do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Veena Srinivasan, Nitya, for participating in this discussion. It was an enlightening screening as well as the discussion that followed. And we have isn't here in the audience also many of the members who were interviewed for the documentary. So please join me in a big round of applause for everyone who participated.